I've often talked about persistence, about the chase, about refinement. And most recently, we did a review of the Gaminja E5 Ultra, a refinement of a product that started out quite poorly and has evolved into something that I like quite a bit. And so as I cover many of these brands that most other channels don't touch, I am seeing that some of these continue to try to refine their product. And one of those companies is our friends over at Gaminja. And today we're going to take a look at yet another outing from them and find out, are they continuing to refine and make better, or have they just simply continued to be the same and stagnant? Remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our show. But let's take a look at the 4-inch 720p 1:1 aspect ratio ANS13. One of the best items on the Wendy's menu, yes, that Wendy's with the square hamburgers, is the baked potato. But you really can't find a baked potato at any other fast food restaurants, really. And that Wendy's one is just so dry. I really wish it had a little butter to it.
This potato is so juicy and wet that it's approved by Cardi B. So come get some wet-ass potatoes for only $9.99 at Dead Fred's Taters and More.
Whoa, man. That's too much. That thing is massive and dripping. And no, just a little more butter. Anyways, I don't own a restaurant, but that would be kind of cool. Hey, Deadheads, welcome back to the channel. Or welcome to the channel for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at the latest handheld from our friends over at Gaminja. Oh, Gaminja. This is a little bit different box than we're used to, but this is the Gaminja 4-inch joining the 1:1 ratio 720p crowded field that has experienced a surge with products like the K39 Max or the R39 Max, 36 Max, Powkitty, RGB20, yeah, all of those. So we're joining a crowded field. There have been many of these, some better than others. But let's look at the box. It does slip out. Looking at the package here, we have a nice front. It shows the image here of the console. We can already see it has that little booty hump on it with some big buttons. Not sure about how this looks. It is a 4-inch screen. It does say handheld game console. Moving to the side, all we have is the handheld game console. There's nothing on the bottom or other sides of it. Pretty boring. If we go to the back, though, and take a look, we do have our specs here. Again, this is a quad core with a Mali. It's a 28 nanometer, 1 gig, 8 gig, a Mali G31. It's probably the 3326. It doesn't say, but with the Mali G31 and the other version of this, that's what I would expect. A 4-inch IPS screen, TV out. Well, it says TV out. Support OTG, earphone function, choking hazard, and it comes in a green color. No, wait, I didn't get green. Color T? I don't know what that is. We'll find out. Taking it out of the box, and we'll get the handheld out of the way. And oh yeah, it is green. Green. I forgot what color I got. Looking below, there's not much here. There's a little tray here. We'll take the tray out and find out what's below it. And below it, we have just our basic stuff. Nothing fancy. We have a USB-C cord here, USB-A to C, and then the manual. Interestingly enough, there's no screen protector, not even a crappy one. As I've said before, I'd prefer not to even have the crappy one than have one at all. So, okay, they didn't put a good one, so don't put one at all. This manual's big. It's a big manual. Open it up like a big origami. I don't know, something like that. But we're opening it up, and we start looking, and here are the specs again. Again, it's just saying a quad-core 835 with a Mali G31, a gig of RAM, and 8 gigs of eMMC inside. It's interesting. It says single card slot on here. TFP is capacity and a built-in OS, and then 2 external TF card holders. So I don't know how it can have a single card slot and then 2 holders. Whatever. One's OS, one's the game. Anyways, The manual is kind of, like a manual. Some stuff there. Look at it if you want or not. But let's put this back in the box. Get this little tray in here. And let's take a look at the handheld itself and find out what we see. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, AliExpress, and the Acegamer wireless controller. This is an amazing controller. It's a mini controller, but the really exciting thing here is that if you can see here on the screen, it has the ability to push down and hide the sticks. So if you want the sticks out or you want to make it more pocketable, you can simply press down and hold it down like this and then let go of the lever and it'll hold the stick down. You can do both sticks for that, making it very versatile. Besides that, this is a pretty good Bluetooth controller that has both X input and switch input as well. It's very light and small. It comes in two colors, black and white, and it's got really surprising good hardware build. These shoulder buttons are great. The D-pad is really nice. And of course, it has these awesome sticks. The buttons as well are nice, a little clicky, and it's very light and pocketable. Hit the link in the description if you want to pick one of these up. Again, this is a wireless controller, the Ace, and we want to thank AliExpress for sending this over for us to take a look at. But yeah, this is a great controller at a very good price. Back to the show. All right, taking it out of the box, and we have what is a nice feeling handheld, I gotta admit. Holding it with those butt humps, it feels really nice in the hand. So we're off to a good start here, Gam Ninja. One thing I wanted to point out is on the bottom, much like the Pocket Ace, we have this little shelf design down here. Now, we do have a speaker front firing on the top, but it would have been better if we could have put two speakers at the bottom. That would have been really nice. But I like the design here, differentiates a little bit, and when holding it, gives a little bit of angle for your hand. Now, as always, let's try these buttons, and these buttons feel okay. They're not bad. They are see-through and big. I like the size of them. They do seem to be independent, so that's actually really good. Going to reserve judgment for that for a little while here. But I'm going to say they're not too bad. They're not my favorite, but they're not terrible. Moving on to the D-pad, and oh, I like the D-pad. This D-pad has a nice design. I don't know if you can see the D-pad very well, but it has a really nice design on it. I like the way it feels. It pivots well. It's a good size. It's not overly big. I think it's an appropriate size. I like the spacing of it. It feels good. Going down to the sticks, and typical sticks. I mean, how many times have we seen these type of sticks? We do have R3 and L3, so good job with that. These are switch style sticks, good movement. They're just the same sticks we're used to over and over. But now let's talk about this unique thing. These three buttons in the center. You know, on the Powkitty RGB20SX, as I show this side by side with it, you know, comparing the size of it, you still have the three buttons, and it gave it that little face looking thing. This one, as you can see here as I zoom in, it has three different size buttons and three different textures. What's going on here, Gaminja? This is different. I'll give it that. They are clicky. They're kind of clicky and big, but it's kind of an interesting design here. We are in the triangle formation here, but why not just have three of the same buttons or try to make it have a face? You know, I don't know. Then we have that front firing speaker, and it does say the word digital on it. So that's pretty good. It has the word digital on it or whatever. All in all, the buttons are the only thing I'm a little questionable about on this. The screen is a big, beautiful screen. Going to the shoulder buttons, and these are like R36S plus shoulder buttons, the R36S line. Good shoulder buttons, no problem there. Moving on to the sides of it, and we do have a TF slot on the one side here, along with our volume rocker. Nothing on the top, so looking at the top there, there's nothing there. Moving to the other side, and we have our power, reset, and a second. Yes, it does have the two slots, so I'm very confident this is a 3326, and we probably can get some custom firmware going on here. And then on the bottom, we do have two USB-C ports and a headphone jack. Now, taking a closer look at this back butt humps, and this is a nice shape. I like the shape of it. You can also see the plastic, and looking at the Gaminja logo up there that's on there along with the sticker. I have to say, this might be the nicest Gaminja that I have tried out of their whole line. Now, the K36S is a great, K36 is a great Gaminja clone as well. However, I don't think they made that. They just slapped their thing on that. This one seems different than others I've tried. So anyways, this is looking promising except for those buttons, but we'll have to see. Overall, the feel of this is great. It's light. I love this color. This emerald color is gorgeous. I like the plastic. It feels good. There's no battery door to access it. That's a little bit of a bummer, but it does seem good. But let's get this thing fired up, do a little bit of testing of the software, see if it performs like a 3326, and see what we think about our good old friend, which I'm sure is Emuelec. All right, firing up, we have a familiar looking R36S type screen, but with their model. So as we boot in here, expecting the Gaminja logo or maybe Emuelec, let's talk about these screens. This is a beautiful screen. This 4-inch 720p 1:1 aspect ratio is a perfect screen for many of the older retro handhelds. Things like Game Boy Color and Game Boy look fantastic on this screen. It just looks really awesome. Now, other systems like PSP, which the 3326 can play a little bit of, are not going to look as great. But I would argue that this is really for your Super Nintendo, your Neo Geo, your Game Boy Color, the older ones here. As we look through the system here, it is indeed Emuelec, and you can see that we have our typical Emuelec settings here. It looks like we do have 4.7. There are network settings, however. Here's the first disappointment. There is no built-in Wi-Fi in this. Unfortunately, you have the R36 Plus running at around the same dollar value that this thing is being asked for that has built-in Wi-Fi. And as I show some footage of the two next side by side, the R36 Plus is a beautiful device. It's crafted well. I like the color of this. I like the plastic. I like the shape on the back to help hold it. You're forgiving that. You do have a battery door on the R36 Plus, but overall, Wi-Fi is a pretty big deal, especially if you want to be able to update scrape your art, you want to play, achievements, you want to do things. So yeah, you can throw a dongle on here, but if you're going to pay around the same price anyways, it's hard to imagine the R36S not being the choice here, especially since Gaminja has not ever really proven to be a brand that's had a home run. This is their best one by far. I would say the best one they have. And it plays and scales really well. The screen is beautiful. The speaker is nice. It's front and center. I like that. And it overall has a good feel. We do have, a nice theme in here, but without built-in Wi-Fi, you can't even really download other themes. Now, again, if you put on custom firmware like ArcOS or something on this, then you're really going to want to be able to download stuff. Nully has a built-in theme manager to do it, for example. So there's a lot of reasons to want it on this. But if you have not yet joined and you end up with one of these, I will say that this is probably better in a lot of ways to some of the other 4-inch 1:1s. I still feel like the king, the one that is still the best for price, is going to be the R36 Plus. Now, the best one, just period, I still go back to the original, the PAL Kitty, the RGB20SX, with built-in Wi-Fi, with that build quality that's nice, those buttons that are nice. And in fact, I had an issue with the button on this. If you press too hard, the button did get stuck, as I show here some of the footage as I was playing a game. I was able to unstick it, but that's a little disconcerting since that's a problem. These buttons are just not the best. If they'd had maybe some standard buttons on this thing, they don't even light up. Why are we using this if they don't light up? So overall, I just feel like this is probably the best handheld that Gaminja has released to date. However, I still think if you're making a selection and choice, there's just some better options out there. I would probably advise to go with the R36 Plus. It's just a better choice there. So that's what I think about this. I implore Gaminja to continue to build off of this. Don't go backwards. Don't release something worse. The K36, even if you did not design it, is a great little handheld. This one is pretty good. I like it. We're just in a crowded field. I don't know how many more of these are going to be. I've already reviewed like 7 of these. Go check out the videos. Maybe I'll do a video putting them all together. But I already know the winner for cost to performance is the 3326, the R36 Plus. However, the best one overall is the Pal Kitty using the Rockchip 3566, which has a little more power and can do a little more with it. So, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Are you interested to give Gaminja a try? I gotta say, this green is gorgeous. Ban, if you see this, the green is gorgeous. So, I like the shell. It looks great in person. I like the plastic materials. It feels great. I like the D-pad a lot. The sticks are fine. The buttons are a bit of a problem. No Wi-Fi is disappointing. But that's my overall review of it. Anyways, remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Dead Fred out.